guys? Here for episode 4 on Crew 42. Today we are headed into COMSTOCK, Michigan to play the Robert Morris course there. And I am joined today by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Donut, as my side commentator. How you doing, Donut?
Hey, what's up, guys?
So today we will be having a full card for the first time on Crew 42. We've got Kirk, Donut, myself, and Chris. Looking forward to play hopefully a good 18 out here. A little windy, if I recall the conditions, but other than that, it was a beautiful day.
Yeah, there were super weird wind conditions on this day. It was almost like tornado conditions where the wind shifts every few minutes. We get a tailwind, and then someone else tees off, and now we got a headwind. It was super bizarre.
Yeah. I headed into hole 1 here through the woods, this valley, all the way up the hill, looking to get your first shot just short of this gap if possible for someone like at my level, AM3, then your next shot up into towards the basket. A lot of players at the AM3 level usually shoot somewhere around a 4 or 5 here because it's a pretty difficult hole. A lot of guardians here. And I go off traditionally in old-fashioned the way I do is hit an early tree.
Yeah, you're trying to throw a slight hyzer on this one, just to the left of that, or to the right of that big one, right?
Yeah, so the tree that Chris just hit right there, I was trying to go just to the left of it, and I didn't.
Yeah, we all just pretty much bean it. Nice throw from Kirk there. Not quite as much height as he wanted, but a really good line.
Yep, he had a perfect right down the middle, and you kissed it.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A little bit of, you're trying to practice that tree love
early?
early?
Yeah, we're trying to get high ground on that.
And there's Chris with he didn't really have a shot there, so just kind of putting it out in the open.
Yeah, these trees are super brutal, and this hole 1 is just a wake-up call to this whole course.
Yeah. And I actually got a decent line of that. I was just hoping to get most of the way up there, and I actually almost get to the gap. Here's Chris again.
Yeah, Chris just a little low on that one. Awesome line, but This course is so steep. You don't really see it on video, but it's almost straight up.
Yeah, and you hit an early tree high. And that just looks like an early release to me.
Yeah.
I think he just slipped right out of his hand. Yep.
And I tried to get this one. I'm not sure what I tried to do there.
I think you were trying to go for that gap, and I think you just got over on it. Just a touch and went left.
Rough hole 1.
Yeah, when it comes to courses, this is a brutal hole 1 to start on. It's like, okay, you have to hit a line perfectly, and you have to hit a very technical, tree line.
This hole's kind of a victim of Michigan par 2, where this really isn't a par 3 unless you're, you're praying for a 3 on this.
Yeah, and so I'm luckily able to get up and out of this in 3, and so hopefully to make that 4. And it looks like you just got up and
nice
out.
Little overhand.
Yep.
Hey, Kirk got out of there.
Yeah, and he scooted right next to... Was that you right there, it looks like?
The last one, yeah.
That was...
Ooh, tough break. Sorry, Chris.
Oh. It's the technique.
Yeah, good look, too.
And there's the wind right there. You can see the trees happening right there. As soon as it comes out of his hand, it's like,
cow.
Change elevation immediately.
I just faced this, too. Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good vid. Like, if it had sat down instead of, like, floating as long as it did, it would have been just great. And Chris trying not to move forward there, I guess, and threw it just high.
It's just so tough to come out of those woods and finally get out, and you feel good, you get on the green, and then just every single one of us just finds something.
And Chris with actually a pretty nice comeback putt there. I'm already starting off hot, by the way. I'm 1 for 1 for hitting the cage.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, not putting it in the cage, mind you, just hitting the cage. And you went wide right there, but made the comeback.
Whew.
So, I mean, just a brutal hole 1 to start off on. Some big scores to start us off. And then right after a hole like this, we go into hole 2, which is just very narrow, 262 feet. You got to hit it dead center here. You want to hit it just as straight as possible for as long as possible.
Yeah, real flat line, light fade at the end if you can get it.
Absolutely. You can go either side of this as well. Usually players will end up going on the left, but if you get it to go straight enough, this line gets you parked right underneath the basket.
Yeah, I think all 4 of us took the right line on this one with a little bit of hyzer, but if you can flex it on the left, that's okay too.
Yeah. So I'm throwing a VIP harp here. New disc in my bag for this upcoming season.
Gorgeous shot right down the gut.
And I was very happy to have that after my hole 1 start.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's even more trees for me to hit. And this turned over beautifully.
Yeah,
I
it
thought
looked like
for
it was gonna flex out for a second.
oh
there,
yeah, I
too.
thought he was gonna go hard left, or he was just gonna like dive right, and
Yeah.
it just beautifully.
I threw mine a little high, got
Yep.
a little more fade than I wanted, but pretty good line. All four of us going right down the gut.
Yep, and Chris with a little tree love there actually
Yeah.
kicks him back in the fairway. As soon as that came out of his hand, I thought that was gonna stop, and it just skipped perfectly. Oh, that's why.
Oh, it rolled out too.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Slightly to the right at the very end there.
Kirk with a pretty good bid, dropping it right near the pin.
Yeah, and he put it right over the top of the basket too.
Yeah, I went for an overhand look. You can't see the ceiling was a little lower than I went for.
Yeah.
And then I just do it again.
It was just gripping you.
Yeah. Rough 2 holes here. For me, you 3 got out pretty good.
Yeah, and that was actually a pretty good bid. That was like going great angle. And so unfortunately my big butt, I'm 2 for 2 now. I actually go off the top of the cage there.
Yep.
I'm 2 for 2. I'm really good at hitting everything but in the basket.
Yeah, you hit just about every other. Kirk too.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he got and his just skipped
unlucky
hard to the outside of that too. Just kept going.
The worst part about this hole is we can't even blame the wind. It's very guarded.
Yeah, there wasn't much wind in here, and that's just You could see your reaction in the background. It was just like that was just
rough.
brutal. Yeah, just absolutely no love. And then you had to go and make your putt in front of him.
Finally made one.
You try to make him feel better with that misgrab there. You're just like pulling out of the cage. So great drives from, like you said, Kirk, Chris, and I. But I'm the only one who was able to walk away with the 3. Just some brutal putting at the end there.
Yeah.
Hole 3, 301 feet, dogleg right, and it's much more dogleg than most people give it credit for. So you have to come out into this opening, and then as it turns to the right here, pretty straight for another 150 feet, and then it tails off again to the right, kind of guarded around this corner here, this basket. So you really got to get something out there that will really go to the right.
Yeah, the leg is almost the same length as that drive, too, so you have a hard corner here.
Yeah. And I try to go big and try to cut the corner there, and my disc disappears in the video.
What kind of disc you throwing there?
That's a Wraith. Really beat in back in like 2011.
Yeah.
Chris throws his a little high, and his is a little...
He tries to turn it over and just doesn't quite get there.
Yep.
Good line, though.
Yep. It would have been great if he would have gotten it over.
Kirk went with a flick, which makes sense, but then it turned understable. Unlucky on that one.
Yep. And you had a great throw out
I had
here.
a cool flick line. I went a little too far on this one.
Yep. And it's hard. It is definitely hard to read.
Yep.
So,
I'm actually throwing this course blind, too.
Yep.
Chris and Zach walked through this before, and then Kirk's played this course a couple times. So...
And it looks like Kirk and Chris are going to be best friends there right in that opening. And I remember this shot. You almost had no way of getting through this. So you had to like throw it 40 feet to the right to get into that gap.
That was
a gorgeous shot.
Throw. Yeah, I asked you what to do on that one.
I just pretended like I knew what I did. Yeah. And it worked. Kind of made a half bid at that one.
Oh, man. Little run.
I'm not known for my forehand, so that was really good for me.
One of probably 8 flicks on the course, you think?
From me, yes. Yeah. If that many, right? I'm not supposed to do those. I think he tried to do that, just understable throw, and it just...
Faced it a little bit.
Yep. And there's a little wind coming off the path there, the road there, but it didn't help. You're trying to clean up my 3.
Nailed it. See if I can chase you here. We
Yep.
got one.
You got yours to go.
Came out of here with par.
Kirk trying to clean his up. There he goes.
Kirk with a good-looking par on that.
Yeah. Bogey.
Is that a bogey?
Yep, he hit that early tree.
Yeah.
It was a good save. It was a good 4, yeah. And Chris misses out from the bush. So Chris with a 6 out to a 8 over start. Kirk with a 6 over. They're still close in contention with each other. Hole 4, 371. First, you got to come up over this hill. Now, the sign on it tells you it looks kind of straight, but once you get over the hill, you can kind of see that it actually kind of jets to the left pretty quickly here. So you got to come over to the left side and then back down this part, back up the hill again, and then it's kind of protected by these low-hanging trees all the way around it. So pretty technical shot. Got to get it up over the hill, the first one, and then you got to give a technical approach.
If you can throw 350, you like to do a slight overstable, right?
Yeah, so I try to get mine to flatten up. I cut the corner there, so I try to flatten it up and then let it just fade at the very end there. Try to hug that first tree.
Cool. Yeah, kind of like what the line I took here is just about the right line. I didn't get quite the distance you want.
Yeah, and your destroyer there, it kind of straightened up there, and I think the wind
helped
to do that.
Yep.
And Kirk got his to fade out a little early. You can see the wind earlier was trying to go into the left, and now you can already see the trees moving. It looks like it's going to the right now.
Oof.
And Chris,
the wind took that one straight up.
And he's actually sitting like right behind that tree, right next to Kirk, and he's just like has nothing. And Kirk actually hits an early tree, lands it right next to mine.
Almost hit your disc there.
Yeah, he did. And Chris has almost nothing, so he just throws it as far as he could over the top of the tree and lands pretty close to us. So
I got some buddies over there.
Yeah, so that was a great throw from where he was at. And this was just awful.
Oh man, right next to the basket, and then we roll all the way down that hill.
That was awful. It was like looked so good. Looks like it was gonna sit on top of the hill, and then just cut rolled the whole way down. And then Chris, like the one branch that's sticking out that he can't hit, he like faces it and just puts him straight down. Yeah. And Kirk hits there, like he hit a tree there a little bit, knocked him down.
Shows a little bit too much the lead edge of that disc. It was a little high on him.
And so, like, the way I was thinking, I was just going to try to, like, jump putt this. And with, like, the wind in my back, I was thinking throw it high and let it scoot towards the basket. And as soon as it came out of my hand, my disc, like, didn't go up. Yeah. The wind was just like, nope, you're going to just stay at the hand level, stay, like, way short. So I don't even know what to say about that. Just beautiful, right?
I've got a lot of interesting throws. That's not one of mine. That's great, though. That second shot was excellent.
That was fantastic. Put it right next to the pin.
Yeah.
So here's you for your 3.
Yep, just a layup on this.
Yep, and you actually you had good height on it. It was almost if you had put it straight on, it would have been good. Okay, let's see if I can save it.
No, we hit cage on those. Don't you remember?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Right, yeah. I'm not allowed to do that from distance.
Yep.
So Kirk there, just a touch short.
Just getting a little flustered by this wind and some of the unlucky shots we're all taking on this.
Yeah. So we clean up ours.
Brutal windy day.
Yeah. It was fun though. I enjoyed playing with the wind. It made it, unique and just different for the feel. So every one of us shot a little over par. You and I are at 7 over and 3 over respectively. Still having a okay round so far, but we can definitely make a move here on hole 5. Only 189, so you got to get through this pretty narrow gap, and once you get past it, you want your disc to crash to the left side towards the basket. Pretty packed dirt around it, so if you threw something that was like mid-range or driver, you might skip right past, but a putter is perfect just to scoot
You throw
it up.
A putter on this?
Oh, absolutely. I might throw a harp at like 3/4 speed or half speed.
Yep.
Nothing too crazy. Unless I, of course, throw it to the right.
The tree, right.
And then I just, have no chance.
I'm throwing my soft wizard here. I don't drive a putter, but this one very often. But this one was just excellent.
Oh yeah,
right on the pin.
Parked it absolutely. So looking to get the first birdie on the card.
Yeah.
And Kirk gets pushed out by those branches, but actually ends up putting him in that gap, and then the next tree hits him and kicks him farther left and kills his tree. And that was just like some weird action.
He faced it a little bit. I don't think it would have been that bad, and then the wind just takes it straight up.
He hits every ugly tree on the way down, every ugly branch. And I just try to play it safe, so there's another harp of mine. I'm just scooting it.
Good looking layup.
Yeah, just get as close as I can as possible. Chris trying to do the same thing.
Great layup.
Yeah.
Little skip in there.
Kirk up next to the basket too. Chris with a bit of a tester. But if I recall,
I think he makes it.
Yeah, he does, and a good putt there.
I'm out here screwing up our star frame.
I was literally we thought I bumped your disc.
Hit my disc, yeah.
And so I put mine in. And it was like, oops, I scooted yours away. Like we're gonna have a par frame instead.
Yep.
That's a great birdie from there, and you can see, there's a birdie,
and Kirk makes his
and he does.
Can't see behind
your little face there.
Yeah.
And he was right under the basket too. Hole 6, 279. This is a pretty tricky hole. In the summertime when all the foliage is back, everything on the left side is just like prison. If you go in it, you could lose your disc. It's so bad. But you want it to come out into this zone and then come back to the right towards the basket here. Again, there's some tricky stuff behind it. If you go past the cage, you could be in trouble with a back putt. But
And then if I remember correctly, you can see a different pin on this, right?
yeah, you can see the pin behind it as well. And there's Chris giving us a good show. I think he forgot that I was recording for a minute and was just like, hey, I'm going to make this look good.
So I went for a flex shot with that flick there and just didn't turn it over. I didn't snap it very
So
hard.
yours didn't come back, and mine, I never flicked hard enough. And mine just went, I threw it too high. And this is why I don't throw forehand. Yeah. I'm not allowed to. You're supposed to remind me of that.
This is brutal for the backhand only players, though. If you want that understable disc, there's too many guardians there on the left. You can't get around it. Yeah. So you really have to just lay it up and take your 3 or a long putt for 2.
Yeah. The only way you can really make that move, like as a backhand player. So Chris makes a great looking shot there. Yep. So if you threw that off the tee and stood it up and then let it come back to the right, that's the only way, is to throw it dead straight and let it slowly go that way. Yep. But a lot of players struggle having, especially players at my level, that technique of getting it that move. AM1 players, open players probably can do it, regularly. You're just a touch short there.
Yeah, this course is the end of the fairway towards the green there is a little uphill. Yeah. Can't quite see it on the camera there.
Yeah, it is. And I almost got through the woods at the very end of my opening. I hit one last branch, of course. Hey, the top of the cage.
4 for 4? No,
I missed one. I did miss one.
Well, you made one, rather.
I made a putt, and I think I missed another one.
Yep.
And just
missing mine.
Just short.
Yep.
So here's Chris, kind of obstructed by the tree, but he makes a nice putt there.
Yeah, that's a tough stance. Same thing here for Kirk.
Yeah, and he's got a couple little branches in his way, and just short, not quite enough height. So I'm hoping to learn from him and try to get that up and over, try to save this 4, excuse me.
Yeah, rough day early in the spring here.
Yeah.
We didn't quite have enough reps with the putters underneath our belt. That's 2 on the same?
Yeah. I hit the cage 3 times, including it going in the basket. Right. So here we are, Kirk and Chris in a close battle here now at 10 and 11 over. Hole 7, 302 feet, coming down this open fairway here. You want to go over this first bush on the left and then around this shrub on the left as well, into this opening gap, and then float it towards the basket straight away. A lot of people just try to kind of shoot to the right side of those and in through the woods and try to kind of pray to get through that line. Oh, and here's Chris again, having a good time. But the safest play is to throw it straight over those bushes, the technical play, and then try to get it. Ooh. And that was just...
I don't know what happened. The wind had to take that or something.
Yeah, the wind changed as soon as he released it, and it came towards his face suddenly, and so it just, killed it and immediately turned it over.
Great line for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right.
Kissed that tree, I believe.
Yep, but you're right around the opening there.
If I remember correctly, this tee points downward almost, too. It's a very strange tee to drive off.
Yeah, it's not perfectly flat. And so Kirk gets an unlucky tree, and I threw this on the line I wanted. Of course, I'm going to block it because, why wouldn't I? And I hit a tree, and you can see me there in front of Kirk as he's throwing, and I just, rolled back 80 feet off of it, and I was just like, oh, no. It's not what I want at all. So Kurt gets over on his a little bit. Chris throws his into the ground.
Nice little scoot there after it hit, though.
Yep, so there he is in the right side. And so I'm trying to do a layup here, and I've been struggling with those this early season, hitting that exact line I wanted. There's a nice layup through the woods, nice, close and parked.
Yep, it's taking my par and being happy with it.
Yeah, a hole like this, getting it to is real nice. And Chris throws his, and his goes wide left.
We gonna clean this up here?
Hey, I didn't hit the cage.
You didn't hit the cage. That's pretty good.
Well, I mean...
Well, it's not good.
It's extra not good, right? There goes Kirk from the outside there. Just a little low. Chris trying to save this back. And that looks like he just, held on to it, walked awkward. Tried to flick it a little too much and held on to it too long.
Yep. Too much meat.
Yeah. And there's me with some excellent... I learned from you the best techniques.
Yep.
There you go, finishing your nice 3 there, a good par. Chris with his fantastic yellow glasses today, just sporting them out.
Let's see, get a good look at those. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's nice.
Kirk with the signature aviators. I don't know if I've ever seen him not wear aviators.
We should ask him if he's been sponsored by
Yeah.
Aviator. Yeah. Hole 8, 149. Pretty tricky, actually, for the short distance here. Pretty narrow line, getting a disc to go through this flick area, trying to go get it crashed towards the basket. There is technically a line on the right side, but it's even more narrow, so it's kind of hitting this line, trying to get as close as you can. Hopefully you have an open look for the putt.
Yeah.
And that's that wizard again, right?
Yeah, I just tilted that up a little too much.
Yep.
I want to throw that flat.
It looks like Kirk gets...
fouling me there. Good skip, though.
Yep. Hit that stump and pushed him forward, actually. And
Yeah.
I should just not be allowed to play
Absolutely
for him.
Gorgeous.
Oh, just...
Right on the pin.
You know, if
just how he drew it up.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
And Chris looks like it came out of his hand a little early.
Yeah, maybe he didn't get that grip quite tight enough.
Yeah. So here he's trying to recover. I'm not sure why he kept the same disc. I think that disc is fairly overstable. I don't know if he was just, trying to do something fancy with it or not. And here I was not about to try to run this. I was like, you know what?
No.
Take the 3. Just put it underneath the
Nothing
pin.
wrong with a 3 on this. Even at 149, it feels silly to take a 3 on a 150-footer, but you gotta do.
Yeah.
I tried to take a little run at this, but
just a higher
wasn't
short.
very aggressive.
Yeah. So Chris trying to save the 3 here. Not a bad bid.
Almost got it.
A little wide right, yep. There you can see our kind of cluster around the cage there.
Yep.
So Kurt cleans his up for a 3. I save mine, and Chris should be coming up here second. Yeah, so we clean up our 3s. Oh, apparently putting in wasn't good enough. I needed to
Right.
look even more
free
ridiculous.
throw shot.
That's right, yeah.
Call that one, I believe.
I got out of basketball season recently, right? So you're just one shot off the lead here.
Yeah,
right on my tail. Hole 9, 170 feet, all super downhill. It doesn't play as far as 170. It's very much shorter, probably like 80 feet. So a lot of people do standstill putts off the edge of it or really, really light throws with putters. If you go past the basket, it's all so downhill and so fast. If you skip, it's going to go way past.
Yep.
And tricky pin placement too, because even if you're close, if you miss it all, like you can just fly away.
Yep. Lucky bounce on that tree there. That was gorgeous.
Kicked it right back to right towards the pin. So you're going to have a look.
Kirk just absolutely rips his. And luckily he hit a tree. He would have been in the water.
Yeah, he was gone. I tried to do a standstill putt there. A little too overstable from where I was at, but still I got to look from there. I'll be close. And this
was the best drive from Chris of the day, but hits a tree at the end.
Yep, and hit that one last guardian tree he needed to scoot around.
Unlucky. Gorgeous look, though.
So Kirk kind of took a run at that, and he ends up going all the way down to the fence.
Oh, yeah.
And Chris hit a tree, but it kept him right next to the basket, so he's all good. So Kirk trying to catch up here.
Yeah, a little 50-footer straight uphill.
And you can't see it. There's a tree guarding it. He hit the one branch that's like sticking out, and it knocked him straight down. So he's got to go again.
Yep.
He had a decent height on it. Yeah, a little too far.
And I wasn't sure if I should take a run at this or if I should lay it up, and I kind of did both. And
yeah.
It's always a bad idea. You got to just choose your shot.
Choose one and go. And you got a really unlucky roll. Like, if that had just stayed straight down, and oh my goodness.
Kirk with the most unlucky.
That went through the chains.
Yep.
And I was wide right. But, like, Kirk's, like, literally, if I recall, like, I could see chains between his disc and as it went through, and then just, like, proceeded to pass through it.
Then I got flustered here, missed another putt, pro side even, just...
Man, we all like
then
kissing
you missed
his chains.
yours, yep.
Wow.
These are very nice baskets, too. Double chains, good height. They're not too high. And we just bounced right off them.
We just wanted to play an expert today, I think. Honestly, I think that's what it is. Early this season, we were just going to automatically play on
I don't know if you call that expert or rookie.
I think we want to play on, like, difficult.
Yeah.
Play against the All-Stars.
Yeah.
And we're the, not them. Chris finishes up his putt there. Chris actually with the par there, taking the pad from us.
Stealing this tee. Good job, Chris.
Yeah, gets it from everyone. So there's the first 9 scores. Lots of purple, lots of red. 1 green to you, Mr.
Found our
Dunner.
only birdie of the day on that putter throw.
And you're only 1 stroke off the lead heading into this back 9, starting off with hole 10, 486 feet. That is an absolute lie. Yeah, it's not 486. It is like 650, 700. This hill is in, like I can throw 350, and it's a max throw just to get on top of the hill. And then once you get on top of the hill, it's another 200, 250 just to get down the hill here in this area. And that's even deceptive. Like that ridge there is a good 60, 65 feet away from the pin. So people who throw right short of that are like, oh yeah, I'm in a great spot. And it just, no, you have a crazy. And he tried to forehand this up.
He tried to flex a forehand, or not sure.
And he went way short.
Yeah.
Just barely past that first bush.
Do you just like to bomb a hyzer up as hard as you can?
Or
do you like to flex around?
I tried a hyzer, but so I'm just trying to rip it.
Yeah.
And
you flexed this one a little bit,
I
and
did.
then the wind took it.
Yeah, so if that had not had any wind with it, I think it would have just stabled up and been like right along the left edge there, right where I wanted it. But and you forgot Kirk didn't go.
No, Kirk doesn't get to drive on this hole.
Well, no,
Sorry, Kirk.
You take a par and you like it.
Good looking throw from Kirk.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
He's that's the line I wanted.
Gorgeous drive.
But he's still at the top of the hill. But a great look here to get around. Chris actually didn't have much of a look here.
Yeah, at least he got out of the weeds.
Yep. So he was just short of that edge. Yeah. And so he just kind of grips it and rips it, and you won't see his disc come back in the screen, so you can see it just at the very end. Yep. He gets like around the corner. It's a great shot. Like he was like doomed, I thought, and he just got it there.
And here's one of my signature unorthodox throws. That's really an ultimate throw. That's what that is.
But it's perfect.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, you got right up top of the hill. There's Kirk. So here's mine, like a max throw, and I'm barely on top of the hill.
And then another max throw with more of a mid.
Yeah, that's a Rock X3, and I thought I gave it enough, and the wind was from behind me, and it just killed it.
Yeah,
like
this just dropped out of the air.
Yeah, I can normally throw that Rock X3 like closer to 300, and it stopped at 250. So you're on top of the hill right next to me. Chris is coming up now, and he leaves his little low, little skip. Yep. He's on top of the hill.
And look at Kirk's drive way up here, just gorgeous.
Great second shot. He skips off the top of the hill. He goes down to the left a little bit. But like I said, we're on top of the hill right now, right? And we're shooting for three or fours. And, I mean, we still have 80 feet to go, 65 feet to go. It's crazy.
Are you ever really trying for a 3 on this one, or is that kind of a birdie for you?
I would have been a 3, I think, is doable for me. Like, I think I have the arm to get up the hill. And without the wind killing my disc here, I think I'd be parked. Like,
but I think that just 3's got to feel awesome.
3 feels great, absolutely. And I kissed the chains. I saw them move.
I did it. You can never get a 2 though, really, unless you have an absolute bomb.
Not at my level, I don't think. AM3, I've seen a 2, but I'm certain someone at some point has recorded. There's a nice putt from you.
You need a 500-foot drive though.
Yeah, awesome. so like I'm certain that you watch some of the pros play on other channels and stuff, and they throw 600 feet. Like, sure, I'm just going to bomb this up and be, 80 feet out, and I'm going to go take a putt at that.
Even after the distance, it's just a very strange hole with all the height.
Yeah, and the wind is crazy off that lake.
Straight up, and then that little cliff into the green there. It's a very strange hole.
Yeah, so end up catching a stroke on the card there, but we're all relatively still within each other's range here.
Yeah, we got a couple little races going.
Yeah, we do.
I'm taking a run at you, and then Zach and Chris are neck and neck. Or
Kirk
and Chris are neck and neck.
Hole 11 here, another long one, 471, but it's all straight, but crazy wind today coming from every direction, almost impossible to read. You aim right for this, the stake marker here, and right over the hill is the hole, which is sitting right kind of this like little leveled out spot with the rocks around it. It can get tricky on the approach, so you really want to be close to that stake off your first row.
Yeah, if you skip this one into a roll, then you're out of OB before you know it.
Yeah, it can get away from you quick. And so I threw my destroyer here. The wind came right at my face while I started throwing it, and so it turned it into a roller at the end. You see mine curl out, so good bomb for me. I'd say 350, 380 in that range.
We can all 4 of us are over capable of par on this course on a normal day, but the headwind is just brutal.
And that was crazy because the headwind made mine so understable, and when Chris threw, his was so overstable.
Yeah, if you put any sort of tilt on your disc at all,
right?
Like I pointed mine up.
Yep.
The wind's just going to take it way in that direction.
Yeah.
So Kirk does kind of the same thing that you did, just a little more. Throws an understable disc, and the wind just pops it.
And this was like the most unlucky thing. So he hits down like it's going to be a roller, and as each time it bounced, the wind kept catching it, and it was like, you will not be a roller. This will not be a good shot. It's just like the most unlucky. And there's the wind again. And so you'll see the same thing happen to Chris in a minute here, but like the wind picked yours up and pushed it to the right. So like the wind is going from left to right here. And you can tell even with Kirk's shot there, like the wind was kind of batting it down. And Chris had a really rough first shot. He was stuck again, so he had to do
overhand. Yep.
Yeah, just trying to get it out there. Great camera work from me there. So I was like, no, see the disc, see the disc.
The ground is not at a 40-degree angle. It's just
and so like here you'll see, look, and so within 2 minutes between those shots and his shot, the wind has shifted back from right to left. Like it was just brutal. So I threw a real overstable putter here.
Yep.
I'm trying to go, and I'm actually parked. Like I end up putting it right at the basket.
Yeah, just about hit the pin.
Oh,
and so I'm worried if I hyzer this
yeah,
with the angle on the green that it'll cut roll.
Yeah.
So with a hammer on that one, or we call it a tomahawk here, I'll hit upside down and it'll just slide just a tiny bit. I'm not worried about a roll at all.
Did you hit the pin on it?
Yeah, I actually hit the
pin. I was going to say, yeah, it was a great throw. And then Kirk did the same thing. So you can see all of ours right in that little plateau. They're friends over there. Or actually, that's...
Yep.
And Chris just short.
The wind takes it again, even on the short ones. It's so brutal.
And he leaves it just short. We were trying to tease him a little bit there, too, because we were like, it's so low off the ground already. Like, how are you missing that short? And you can see him smiling right there. He's talking to us about it. He's like, I don't know how I did that. So we just got to clean up our putts here. So I ended up taking a par.
Yep. Very unusual basket, too. It's only about 8 inches off the ground, the bottom of the cage there.
I like
it.
It's
below our knees, yeah.
I like it.
I love it.
It makes an interesting approach here, and if it was higher, I think it would be worse coming from behind it because if you missed it, it is a disaster. But that low, if you missed...
It's easier to take a run at these low baskets, too, because then if you miss, you're right on the ground next to it instead of being... Those elevated ones that are 10 feet in the air, you take a run at it, and then you're farther away than you started.
You're right. Hole 12 here, 411 feet, so a little bit shorter than the last hole. The whole hill, the whole way slopes from left to right, just all the way down, so your disc can easily skip off. Like forehands I never see off of this because of the skip possibility, so everything's usually pretty...
The problem with if you put too much hyzer on your fade, you can cut roll, too, which I'm really afraid of. I'm very afraid of cut rolls, even more than skips.
And so
absolute bomb. You can't find this one, but it goes way off to the left, just off the fairway.
There's a stake at the very end. It actually, if you look closely enough, you can see it for just a half second. You see my disc come back into screen, but it's a good 400 feet. Like I bombed that out there. Like it flexed the whole way.
Kirk and I both tried to throw a flex line at this one, but just before the disc turned up, the wind just took him overstable.
And you can see that pine tree off the left side. It's just
way out.
It's blowing. And Chris was trying to get a good shot here. There's some great action in the wind there.
So took the flex line and an absolute bomb from Chris.
So great shot from him. Good recovery after the last hole with all that.
Absolutely.
Unlucky he had to hit.
4 putts the last hole and then throws like 350.
Yeah, just bombed it. But that's the thing with Chris. He has those moments where he plays, and you can tell, like, Chris is a casual player, right?
Sure.
And so you see those moments from him where he's just like, yep, you're a casual player, you're doing these cool things, and then all of a sudden he does a throw like that, and you're like, well, dang, like, you should do that all the time.
And same thing from the last hole where I'm worried about that cut roll, so I throw out tomahawk.
And it hit the pin.
Yeah.
And the wind was crazy here. Like, we were just trying to get close. And
man.
He's a touch short. Chris had no lie here either.
Close.
Chris, on this shot, he had nothing. He just, like, he told me, he looked at me, he's like, I'm just going to throw it through the trees and hope I get lucky.
He got the distance on that drive and then excellent approach through the trees.
And so here I am, of course, going to make it.
Are you taking a run at this?
I didn't plan on it, but it... I literally was just like, you know what? I'm going to throw a real overstable disc and let it land it short. And I just threw it, and it just, don't die, Zach. Don't slip after you make that putt. And it just carried over and smashed in for birdie. I will 100% admit, I did not plan to do that. That was not on purpose. That was an accident. I will 100% will own up to that. Chris had to lay it up there. A little awkward. He's so tall. He's like 6'3", and he's just like, everything's in his face.
I had a big old bounce after hitting the pin, but I'm still close enough to clean up this.
Yep.
Take my bogey. Zach with a 2.
I mean, on a 411 for AM3 player like me, any day. It won't happen again, ever.
No.
I promise you. Hole 13, 281 feet. Kind of have to carry this over the right side. Best lie usually is like over this fence line with a real overstable disc, and then crashing it back left towards the basket. So there's 2 pine trees on the left side. You got to get around both of them. and get it close to the basket as best you can.
Yeah, you can't see the second one from the tee.
No, you can't.
To know how far away it is. And you're just taking an overstable disc and throwing it towards the road, right?
Yeah, so I'm throwing that Rock X3 from earlier, and I'm just throwing up in the air, and I didn't try to like crank over on it all because it's going to be shorter.
Just aim for the traffic and see where it ends up?
Yep, just overstable enough to where it won't go over the fence.
Scary with this wind today. You never know what it's going to do.
Yep. And so you threw yours just inside line. Yep, inside line a bit.
I was a little afraid of that road. Kirk a little low here. Really good line. That's exactly the flex you want on that, but
same line that I had.
A little low.
Yeah, hit that low hanging tree there, and Chris didn't get enough snap. I think he was scared of the wind there because the wind kept picking up for him.
That's scary.
So he didn't get confident on that.
Kirk faces his layup a little bit, just a little high. Got caught.
And I'm not sure what Chris was trying to do here because he had everything in his way. And apparently I didn't move the camera either. But he's like in that pine tree where you're at right now.
Yep. And that one's mine. I almost got that one all the way out. That would have been right near the basket if I passed that tree. But
so Chris is doing just a layout, and I told him, don't hit me. Well, he
almost hit you.
He did. We're friends. If he had hit me, it would have been okay. I'd have forgiven him.
Just don't hit the camera.
Yes, please don't. So there's you.
Yep.
Nice layup.
Little layup.
You had a little vision of the basket there, right?
Yeah, I could barely see the edge of it.
Yeah. I feel like running that, you could just hit that.
Ooh, Kirk.
Try to scoot it.
Yeah. From Kirk's side, I like to flop those where you put 4 fingers on the bottom side of the disc and throw it as high as you can.
Yep.
And
I had to tell you guys to wait because I was like, hold on, I got to record this. And so you both are just staring at me like, are we good? Are we good to go? And then you both just, whatever, smash it in. I was parked. I was right underneath the basket.
Yeah, that was excellent.
I just forgot to say that. You just like standing, I walk up and put that in. I was like, oh yeah, by the way, that was 2 feet. Cool. Hole 14, 465. So this one's also a blind hole. So you see this big pine tree in the middle. You want to throw a big bomb over this tree, let it fade back to the left towards this fairway. Once you get to the fairway, kind of similar to hole 10, you're going to come up over this hill and then back down towards the valley that's kind of got its little cove here at the end.
The nice part about this one is that fairway actually points towards the basket. The tee doesn't. The tee points towards the fairway, and then the fairway points left towards that basket.
Yeah.
So just excellent for our right-handed backhand players.
And I tried to hug it a little too much. I didn't quite get over on it, so it went into those woods on the left side.
I think this is another tee that points downward at about 5 degrees.
It did, yeah. I remember you saying that. It was pretty...
Very strange.
And you had a great rip here, and the wind kind of stalled you out, but you're in that fairway area, right short of the tree. That's actually a fine spot. You'll still have a look at the fairway.
Really want to be on the other side of the tree, but short of the tree isn't as bad as you would think.
Yep. And Kirk just goes into absolutely like the dead zone. Like, don't go there.
We had a heck of a time climbing up the tree for Kirk's disc here. You watched me scrambling for it.
Yeah. So he said he was just going to throw real quick, and like I said, it's an absolute prison in there.
That's about all you can expect on this one. And then
So he's kind of, but now he's got a little more space.
Oh, yeah, he has a line through there.
So he curves it around those trees. He's just past that, just short of the big tree still. Chris a little low and towards that guardian pine tree on the left.
That's a tough line, man.
Yeah.
Oof.
You got to be able to keep it up in the air. And so Kirk went to go join him. Here's you. And you couldn't see it, unfortunately. I tried to track it, but you're actually on the right side on top of that hill.
I threw overhand tomahawk and tried to flex it back, but my disc wasn't quite as overstable as I like, so it didn't flex all the way back. I'm just right of the fairway, though. It's an okay shot for me.
And Kirk and Chris both have great lines here, but they did not throw this far enough. I think they thought like it was closer because you couldn't see the basket.
I think they saw one of the marker pins and thought it was a flag.
So they were like trying to lay up, and they should have been throwing it much harder. But they still have looks at it. And I was like in the woods. There's like a walking path.
That's your drive, right?
Yep. So there's a walking path back there. And I tried to follow it, and the disc I had just wasn't stable enough.
Almost made it too.
So I just had to pitch up out of it, park it, just so I could have that 4. I won't even lie. When Chris threw this, you see me kind of like duck for a minute. I was just like, is that going to hit me? Like, get out of the way.
Especially on the windy days like this, those big hyzer lines.
And that was, I tell you, if there was no wind, that might have gone in. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Going bar down on that one.
Yeah, he did. He's going. He's playing it dangerous.
Cleaning up my bogey. Kirk.
And off the top again.
Kirk.
And you could see the wind affect his last two
Oof.
putts. It was just so brutal from him. It's just I don't know what putter he uses. I want to say it's an AVR.
I think he uses a heavier AVR. It's not a starter AVR.
So like I'm not sure, but like it's just and so like from his perspective, he hits into the woods. He hits off the cage like practically twice there, and he's 8 for that hole. Just brutal, but it puts Chris back into contention. So they're back fighting for it. Hole 15, 352. Not a lot to say here. There's that one guardian tree on the left of the fairway. You just want to avoid that to get down as far as possible. There's the one pine tree on the right side, so don't be to the right of that if you can avoid it. And then once you get into this little cove, don't throw past it because once you do, it's a tricky putt out of it. So just play it safe, something that'll go straight. Of course, I'm going for it. I throw that destroyer again.
You throw a little understable, try to park it right by the pin.
Yep, and I just didn't get over on it enough in it.
Close.
Yep.
So I tried to one-up you here, throwing a flick, and I wanted to flex that around and get it really tight, but I just popped it, and the wind took it. This was also a strange one where we had some... I had a headwind on my throw, and then by the time Kirk got here, he had a tailwind.
Yeah, it was it was an interesting day.
Yeah. You can see the tailwind just tank his disc, goes straight down.
And he picked something super understable there, trying to like fight that, and it probably would have been a roller if he had not. If he had not had any wind there. And Chris throws his a little bit into the ground. Kirk accidentally throws his into that tree. If he again, I think the wind pushed him a little bit. If he had been, I think Chris was trying to avoid the wind and got a little unlucky with that cut roll. And you had a rough lie.
Brutal lie.
Like you just had to like take this awkward stance and try to cut out.
Didn't get quite enough on that and went and hang out with Kirk in the tree.
Yeah. And here I am probably like 60 to 80 feet in that range. Bang.
Come on, man.
Hey, I had one good part of the round, right? I had some good
trying to take a run at you, and
I couldn't let you do it today.
You hit your birdie, and I'm in a tree.
I didn't get that shot either when you were pitched yourself to the edge there. So again, he changes putters there too.
Yep, that's his preferred putter. It's got an eye on it.
Yeah. So I didn't see the putt that you try to kick it out of the tree, but you're landing right at the edge.
That was my third shot.
Yep,
or my fourth shot.
Kick it just short, hit the cage.
Here's my 5. After a hole you really want to get a 2 on.
Yeah, 2 or 3 at the worst, right? This is a hole that it's like
take a run at 2 and be happy with your 3, really.
Yeah, like I just got lucky with my 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the card gets 5. I got 3 strokes on the card there, and that was an accident, but I'll take it.
I bump out to the middle of the pack there, and then still a tight race between Kirk and Chris there.
Yep, they're still within reach of each other. Hole 16, 277 feet. This is, it feels shorter because it goes downhill at the very end, but there's this kind of cove of trees that protects the basket. So you want something that'll go over the trees, or if you get lucky, gets through the trees there from the right side. The left side is much more like leafy, like it's pine tree with a lot of needles still on it. So if you try to go with the forehand, I think it's a little more difficult, but
it's really tight on the left side.
Yeah. So I just try to go over the tree. I just throw a big destroyer over the top, and you can see the wind crazy right to left here.
And then I want to flatten mine and spike it into the green there.
And we thought for sure that you might have been parked.
Man,
you had some great line.
I thought I was on the pin.
And there's the wind changing again for Chris, and he looks at it. He's just like
he threw the same throw I did, and he just went the other way. Kirk, same thing. Just turns all the way over.
It was just fun. And then I had a little fun with Chris. He was trying to find his disc up there, so I told him it's over here. And he's like, gives me thumbs up, and he walked right past it. You can see in the bottom right corner. And so he's coming back. He's like, I don't know where my disc is. Are you kidding me? Oof. So he's just trying to get it out into the open here. He's asking me, what should I do? And I'm going to just get it close.
Throw it as hard as you can, see where it goes.
Yep, and he actually is not in a bad spot there. You'll have a pitch from there.
Pretty good distance from that lie. That's tough.
And you can see, like, Kirk there, not a horrible go at it, but the wind catches it when it faced up towards the wind.
If you make a small mistake on a windy day like this, the wind is going to show you what that mistake was.
It's like, oops. And Chris actually, after throwing that, he saw Kirk's throw and just like, oh, so I should just throw it up and let the wind push it 40 feet to the left?
And mine was actually on the edge of these Guardians. I don't know what happened. I must have hit a branch, then it bounced the wrong way or something.
Oh, Kirk with a good putt there. Yeah, I think you just got unlucky. I think you hit a a bad branch or something.
Zach, where's your disc?
Don't even talk about this.
Oh no,
Oh, Chris!
Oh, that was Chris, wasn't it?
That is Chris, yeah.
Oh.
And so the whole time I'm recording this, like, we're just having a good time, right? And I'm recording all this. And then all of a sudden, like, after Chris makes it, everyone just kind of looked at me like, wait, Zach, where's your disc at? I'm like, it's on top of the hill somewhere.
And then after my gorgeous drive, and then I par it, you have an excellent lie after just a garbage drive.
Mine was not. The wind carried it too far.
Yep.
So
we both get a 3 on it.
Yep, we just both get a 3. Kirk gets a stroke on Chris there. So we've got a tight race for 3. This is exciting to watch that one as we head into the last 2 holes. Hole 17, 560 feet. This goes on for forever. Probably go 200 feet into the air, uphill. Got to get into this flat plateau area, and then all on the right side is OB. There's like a string line around there for a path, like a driving path on the right of it. So all of that's OB. Then you got to get them down past the plateau, down the hill into this area. There's not a lot of obstruction in the fairway if you can stay in the fairway.
Right.
If you get off the fairway, you can find yourself seeing some other obstacles. The left side is less dangerous than the right side.
Oh, just kisses that tree there.
Yeah, I had a real early release coming out of my hand. I was trying to flex it and go all the way up that hill.
Yeah.
And then you must have just wanted to join me. You thought it looked like a good shot, apparently? No?
Yeah, I don't know what happened on that one. This is really uphill, too. You can't quite see it in this camera.
Yeah.
It doesn't even play like 560.
Plays way more.
Yeah.
Again, another hole that plays like 700. And Chris with a great drive.
Nice looking drive. Best drive.
You got stuck in a bad spot.
Yep.
You tried.
Got out okay.
Yep. So you're in the... you had a great
like a good roll.
And then it puts you right on the edge. Yep. So you at least have a look from there. And I was trying to say, you know what, that first drive is bad. I'm just going to crank this out there as hard as I can. And I cranked it too much.
You cranked it.
Cranked it. Oh, yeah.
Yep. You can't quite see it. Oh, there it is.
Yep. So I got a lucky. That was going to go OB for sure. And that tree saved me.
I think that one did go OB.
Not that one.
It looked like it spiked straight down and it rolled out.
No, that one stayed in bounds.
Is that what it was?
Yep. You're spoiling what happens next.
I thought that one went OB.
That one stayed in bounds. It's actually right next to like this root. How do I say that?
However you want.
Okay. Root.
It's your channel.
So
Just face it a little bit there.
Yep. And so here I am trying to go again. So I thought this was actually going to be great. Like I was like, this will flex, and then it just never stopped flexing.
Yeah. It actually hit a tree and spiked straight down, and we thought it was good, but
when we got up to it,
ended up rolling out into the road there.
Yep. So Chris was just
what a gorgeous shot.
Yeah, just like I said, the casual player, and then all of a sudden has this shot. I was like, man, I wish I could do that.
He's got an arm on him, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know he does a lot of different sports growing up, and he still is active and stuff. So Kurt actually is in the road, but he's playing casually here, so he's gonna just play it from this position, and he throws it out into the fairway. So there's his lay. He's gonna go again because he ends up being farthest one away still from the OB there, and that's a good layup there. Good layup. Yep. So he gets pretty close there, gives himself a chance. And you keep having to go to a knee.
Yep.
You just have these awkward lies the whole time, and then you happen to almost shade it. Like you're like, this is awful. Proceeds to throw it, and just like
my putter plays almost like an ultimate disc, which is really comfortable in my hands.
And Chris,
I like throwing that long.
Chris hit the post there. And so I played from the OB line, so I went back in, took a drop, and took a run at that, and it was a little short, but kept it close at least. So you finished up the 4 there, right?
No.
Oh no, you did. You had the early. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Man, I should put this on the video earlier, huh? Yeah. Make me look less silly.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Not good.
I think I had the 6 because I went OB.
Yep.
So I had that destroyer in my hand for this whole. Oh, it was so good to me today. And today it was just like the second to last hole? No.
We both had 6s.
We both had 6s. All right, so pretty big scores. But this is the interesting thing.
Chris
and Kurt Chris takes the tee. We are tied for those two going in the last hole. This just got interesting. Hole 18, 327 feet. For once, we have a hole that won't play its distance more. It'll play less than this because it's so downhill. But this is still really narrow. So you got to throw something that's really stable or throw like an overhand. Try to just get it down the hill. But backhand is probably your best bet to get down the hill for a best chance for a 2.
Yeah, you really want to flex a mid on this is probably your best line. There's a ceiling, too, for these overhand shots.
This is not a bad throw for Chris either.
Yeah,
he's on the right side, but
Chris isn't quite used to the overhand throws, kind of turns it around a little much.
I think he should start.
It's a really good throw. He's got the shoulder for it, for sure.
There you are.
Yeah.
Blocking my
It's
shot.
a great place for my head. I throw my putter there, and I just turn it over. I tried to rip it a little too hard, and that wind comes straight up the hill.
Yeah, you can't feel it as much from your pad, but as soon as the disc gets on there, you start walking down. It's like, oh, that wind is right here.
It gets out there about 40 or 50 feet and just turns right over. Nothing you can do. Any disc.
So Chris doing it twice here, and
good looking overhand
yeah,
shot.
So I think he should start doing that more often.
He practices that. That's going to look really nice.
So there's your attempt to get out.
My overhand almost gets out.
Yeah, you were close. It hits like the last tree that you couldn't hit.
Yeah, that was going to turn around too.
And Kirk's kind of like a similar line, but he's just trying to float it out, and that'll work. That'll get him to the edge. It'll give him a look at it.
And this is my attempt at a scuba, but I can't quite finish on this.
You had to lean back.
Yeah, so it turns over way too fast, and I can't turn it around the corner.
Yeah. So Kirk, and that looked so. When he threw that, I was like, that looks so unorthodox. And as soon as it hit that height that he had, the wind just was like, stop, drop.
That's a cool shot when you can get it to work. It's almost like a tomahawk off the wrong shoulder.
Yep.
Then it turns over right away.
Oh my goodness! I just realized Chris is now putts and he wins.
Yep.
Like right now, I think right now,
assuming Kirk makes this,
right.
Chris can putt and win.
So I think if he made that, Chris would have to make it to tie. But I think now Chris is in the position to, if he makes it, he wins. Yep. Like he's coming back. Oh, this is exciting! I want to know. Like this, like we were not paying, like we were aware of it when you were playing, like that they were getting closer and closer. Right. But it was just like now that I watch it back and there we go, here I am, cage. Oh, but now that I'm watching it, like, this is exciting. Like, I want to know, like, what happens?
And an excellent back nine from you. You were making all your putts until 18.
I went back to my old self.
To the signature cage look.
Yep. So Chris here, like, I think he has 2 strokes to give here. So I think he can putt and miss and still make it. And he hardly even uses the cage. Puts his in.
Bangs it in.
Yep. There's you making a great putt. So Kirk to finish the round here. I didn't even try to edit that out. I was just like, he's so fast. Kirk played very quickly.
He's not going to wait for you.
He was not. He was just like, I'm ready. I'm putting this in. So I was trying to imitate you from
finding my backhand shot.
That's right. I was trying to. It's like, did it go in? So there it is. There's the final hole there. Pretty good round overall, considering the wind, like how much the conditions were. There's our back nine scores: 47, 40, 29, 45. I was super stoked to keep it under 30. That was super cool for me. And there's our final scores there. I had the 63, Donut with the 75, Chris 86, and Kirk 88. So I have to ask you one question before we go, because the last video we had, my man had to ask, why is your name Donut? So tell us briefly for a minute before we get out of here, what's the story behind the name?
So I was in college marching band, and during band camp we do some team building exercises with the whole marching band.
Uh-huh.
And one of our nightly activities was a dating game where you send one person up and ask them a question, and then the group, which is my tuba section, has to guess what I said.
Okay.
Well, we decided to rig it and say every answer is donut, no matter what question it is. And I went up there as a freshman, and they asked me what my middle name was. And then there's 17 sections, and they go down the entire line, and I'm last. Just dying laughing, and no one knows why. And my section in the back is dying laughing the whole time, and everyone's taking this game seriously.
Except the tuba section.
And they're like, all right, what's this guy's middle name? And someone stands up and goes, is it Donut? And they look at my piece of paper that I wrote Donut on, and they're like, yeah, how they know? So from then on, my middle name's been Donut.
Awesome. That's such a great story. Like that one time at band camp.
Right?
Awesome.
It actually happened, though.
I know, right? That's a great story. So thanks, Donut, for being here. Pleasure to have you. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for future videos. Crew 42 out.